Hi, everybody. I'm Lyric, and I'm giving a talk because there was a free spot this month about the power of plugins and tool scripts in Godot engine. 2 Godot talks in 2 months. Yeah, I'm a proud member of the open source cult. What of it? I'm Lyric. You might have seen me online as Intangible Matter. So just a quick about me, because it seems to be an obligatory thing when you're giving one of these talks. I don't know why. Grad year high school, making games 2016, live theater background. Some of my favorite games are there. I think some of the devs are here tonight. Made some polished Game Jam games. Currently working on a remake of a Flash game that's like obscure but really cool. And currently working on like my final high school project because, you know, that's how it is. But what we're talking about tonight, what is a plugin? So who here has ever used a plugin for anything before? All right, raise your hand if you haven't. Just what I thought. So in game engines, plugins, a lot of people use plugins written by other people, but they do all sorts of things. Like you might use it to streamline your workflow, implement new features, whatever kind of thing you want to do. But what I've seen in other engines from devs that I follow online is that a lot of plugin systems aren't the most powerful, or they've got really weird quirks or workarounds that you have to perform with them. And in my opinion, Godot has a really nice plugin system, so I wanted to talk about that, talk about what it can do. So an important thing to know about the Godot engine is that the entire editor, every single thing in Godot, is, technically speaking, a Godot plugin. The entire engine is built on itself, self-hosting, all that stuff. So the UI system needs to be strong enough to make an entire game engine, like fully featured, strong game engine. What this also means is that anything that you can do in a game you're running has to also work in the editor, just by nature of how the engine works. And this means that plugins and tools in Godot get to be incredibly powerful. So I've got a little scene here. Incredibly simple, very bare bones, like placeholder assets. Who here can tell anything about what's going on here? What do you think's going on? Can you tell any of what these like weird little like blue shapes are around the edges? You guess? Or something, yeah, exactly. So let's see how it looks when we run the game. So these are actually like doors that are limiting. These are some platforms, and up here we have some camera triggers that change how the camera looks. Unreadable in the editor, but it looks workable in the game. These are also things that move the level to the next level. I've only got this level, so it just moves it to itself. But the thing about this whole system is that it's hard to read what's going on in the editor. And I'm guessing that everybody here has worked on a game at some point, if you've ever like worked with a game, where there's a lot of stuff in the editor, but you can't always tell what's going on because you got some placeholder sprites that just like look totally different in the game. You got some wild stuff over here, you got some wild stuff over there. So I'm going to take this scene and do a few tool scripts, which are scripts that run in the editor. And what that allows us to do is create a significantly more readable scene. So first thing that we've got here are clear definitions of what the camera bounds are. So you can see where the camera is. In the previous scene, it took me about 5 minutes of trial and error to get the camera into position. In this scene, it took me about 2 seconds because I can just set this to however big it needs to be, and you immediately get to see where the camera is going to be. And all that is just a couple lines of code to draw a shape. Or these doors, instead of having a placeholder sprite, you can actually see what's going on because it's drawing what it draws in runtime in the editor. Another very nice thing that you can do with tool scripts is abstract away things that you might need to make editable children, as they're called in Godot, because Godot is made of nodes. Every node is a child of another node. So in this scene, what we see here is for the exits, for every level transition, it has a collision shape. And to get that collision shape, we need to mark the children as editable. And then we need to assign a shape to that collision shape. Meanwhile, in the new scene, we can just, wait, wrong button. We can just create an exported variable for the shape, and it just assigns a shape to it. Let's change that to a circle, and let's make that, I don't know, 26 big. And boom, you can see that it's there, it's easily readable, you can tell it's easy, the tree is clean. So I don't have a lot of time, so I'm not going to go into all the code of this, but it is on GitHub if you want later. It's all very quick and easy to use. So what else can we do with these tool scripts? So we can make new editors for systems. There's a very powerful little dialogue system that's used. You can make a whole script editor. Sure. And boom, you've got a whole, this is a whole scripting language, the entire editor hosted and written in Godot. Or an audio engine that I never ended up finishing. All of it just works as part of Godot because the Godot UI is made up of components of the Godot UI. And what this means, we have a lot of power to use anything that we want. There's another plugin called Ridiculous Coding that what it does is, hold on, do I have enough time to, just 1 second here, Ridiculous Coding, boop. And what that should be able to do is, okay, it's not working, I need to restart the engine, but what it would do if I restarted the engine, but I don't have time to do that, is make the coding have all sorts of juice. Like, if anybody's played a Vlambeer game, it makes your code like that. It's stupid, it's amazing. We can, there's also command palettes, which I didn't even have time to get into, but you can do all sorts of stuff like this. Passive Star on Twitter had a whole adventure finding out cool things that you can do with Godot. With the command palette, you can make anything you want, for better or for worse. Like this little doc here took me about 5 minutes to make. It's not good, but it took me 5 minutes. And that took, here, actually, I've got enough time to show you that quickly. How quick that was, take the scene with the doc and add it to the editor. Most of the code, and there's not much, is just in the doc, and all it does is tell that thing to start doing its thing. This is how incredibly simple it is to just make a plugin in Godot. This is all you need, and you can have a doc, and it can do whatever you want. I considered doing a live demo, but don't have time. So I asked a question on Reddit about what people use Tool for because I didn't want it to just be what I've used it for, which is usually like exits and stuff like that. And I don't have time to go through all of them, but people had a couple of responses. There's also like procedural generation, making things that, you know, if you've got something, you can visualize the way a boss is going to move by having it draw out its trail in advance. Because I don't want to run over. Source code is on GitHub, github.com/intangiblemAtter, or you can just scan that QR code. Warning, most of this was program between 1 and 3 in the morning. So to quote Greg Lobanov, this is real functioning code that was shipped with a real finished talk. As such, it's horrible, just horrible. Things are hacky, undocumented, badly named, badly formatted. Every sin under the sun you're told to not do in programmer school is committed here. I'm sorry. And that's about it for what I've got to cover here. If anybody wants, and I encourage you to look at plugins in your engine, anything that you can learn there. Yeah.
I have a mic for the people who are asking questions.
Yeah, any questions or, yeah.
What is your favorite plugin?
There's a lot of different plugins that I have used. I'd say that this dialogue plugin is really nice because I really like dialogue systems, and this is powerful, well-designed, it's easily extensible, so it's saved me a lot of time from going in and writing my own system. To prove a point, because this whole presentation is a Godot plugin, because that's how powerful the plugin system is. Everything in this presentation is Godot. Yeah.
I don't think it was me.
I'm sorry, I just have to ask. So on the page where you were scrolling through Reddit posts, was that just one long image, or did you implement a browser inside of your Godot editor?
No, that is just one long image that I took a screenshot of, yeah. I'm sure I could, but I didn't have time to, so. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering about the dialogue plugin. So does that actually track the player's choices and then also lead to different nodes?
You have to implement your own Blackboard and stuff, but yeah, it's a fully functional little dialogue plugin that works quite well. Very simple, very easy to use, quite nice to work with, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious, you know, with the whole, especially this year and last year, the emergence of AI, do you think there'll be more like, yeah, legitimate AI plugins for this kind of system or others?
There are some AI plugins. There are some paid plugins, but a lot of Godot plugins are hosted on GitHub. Like most of these that are just here on the front page are, you know, made on GitHub. So I don't know. There's not much to gain from making a free plugin. So yeah. All right. Any other questions, or is that about all? All right. Wonderful speaking to you all. Have a nice night, and on to the next talk, I believe.